So we did the first two projects. We 2011 public project. So we were in society and the importance of energy society and the ethics of it. But society we saw is a group of people who have the same aim and usually together. And then we saw the importance of energy for society. So what we did was to see the benefits of that power, to use that power of the wealth, the economy, the welfare of the people have, and then what happens when a city like Nairobi disappears. So that the village we were studying, the different things that we discussed, and the increase of the standards of living in the households, and income, and care communities. So it's incredible what it can become big education. So to the point that energy is something that is needed. So when it falls, it doesn't come.
Today on the Daily Dose, the great New York City blackout of 1977. July 13th, 1977, in the middle of a brutal heat wave that descended over the greater New York City area. At around 8 p.m., severe thunderstorms pelted the region until lightning struck a major power line in Westchester County, which increased demand on the surrounding power grids. An hour later, the shifting power load forced a domino effect blackout in all 5 boroughs of the city. At first, there was a sense of calm. Surgery moved outside at Brooklyn Jewish Hospital to utilize car batteries as backup. But the tired, the poor, and the huddled masses soon became restless, agitated, and violent in the sweltering July night. New York City in 1977 was very much a place on edge. Son of Sam was stalking, while the fabric of the cash.
So we were cooking access. As you see, Africa, we have to speed up. In some places, there is less opportunity because they are poorly equipped by nature. They are deserts, only the sun could be there. And then we have a person here who is installing a 49 megabytes solar in Mauritania. So that will help Mauritania because they don't have water. They don't have, the only thing they have is sand and sun and a bit of sea. So electricity access, you see, we are the worst continent. Kenya is not that bad compared to the rest. South Africa was good. This was in 2020. Now South Africa, they are rationing electricity. So that it's a social problem more than a capability problem, it seems. And then there are countries that Egypt doesn't have any problem. Then Morocco, Algeria, Libya, they didn't have any problem. Now with the floods in Libya, they may have some problem. And I don't know which country is there, Ivory Coast, and I don't know which other country is there. Mauritania, no, that is the Sahara, and could be Mauritania as well, yeah. But they don't have any problem because there is nobody there, but practically. What is the population of Mauritania? 5 million, 4.3. Okay, so the energy ladder, this, if you check at the bottom, is who can afford the energy. So the very low income, they have to get the dung, the Maasai, and the waste of crops. They don't have crops, but they have kind of vegetable. And then wood is the major thing, and charcoal. And then some people, if they live near coal, they can use the coal. And it seems that in Kitui there is quite a lot of coal, but there has not been investment there. And there was a proposal of creating an electricity plant based on coal, but the climate change has prevented it. Then the middle income can afford coal, can afford kerosene, can afford ethanol, gas, and very few people, the high income, can afford electricity and natural gas as the main kind of production. We have capacity to produce more than what we consume these days, it seems, and then they are pushing for electricity cars, electrical cars, and motorized car trucks, electrical car buses that are being produced. Let's see how it goes, because I don't think there are many points at the moment in Kenya in which you can kind of charge your car, electrical car. So now, which is the safest in production of the different energies? So the brown coal is the one that has more deaths and coal as well. Why? Because it's in mines and they are gases. So then they explode and they kill the people, or they cave in and then the people are trapped. So those are the most dangerous ones. Oil is dangerous as well. It can explode. It can burn people. Then biomass, gas, and hydropower are very safe. And wind, nuclear, and solar are very, very safe as well. So from the point of view of life, which is number one in morality, then the safest are solar, nuclear, wind, and hydropower, and gas as well. So biomass is not bad. Then when you get into oil, especially coal, then you're getting into a dangerous area. It's not only the immediate death, but also the long-term death. So if you are exposed to radiation, then you can be dying in 5 years, 10 years, depending on the intensity. You get more cancers. If you are in a coal mine, your lungs, if you are not careful, get really messed up. So you die young as well. That doesn't happen. So, okay, the rate of death on the left and the greenhouse emissions, again, the two bad guys are coal and oil, and the natural gas in greenhouse emissions is not as good. Okay, so the clean is better. Why? For the two things. One is life preservation, and the second is the greenhouse effect, environmental issue. So what is the consumption now? So the consumption is oil number one, coal number two, and then the third is gas. Why these three? Because they are easy to get and they're easy to transport. The solar is very difficult to transport, and the same with hydropower or wind. You have a lot of waste. And biomass, okay, it's growing, but not as much as the other ones, because it's messy, and you have to have plenty of cows or pigs to produce it. So who are the more coal emission production for the gases? So you say it's the United States of America, amazingly enough, Saudi Arabia. Why Saudi Arabia? Well, because they are producing, and then they produce gas that they are continuously burning in the production oil. And then, amazing enough, it seems to be Mongolia. And then second, and Australia. Wow. So, and in Africa, we are the ones, South Africa, and Lesotho is that one, and then Namibia a bit more. We produce, but not that much as Europe. And in Finland, they produce a lot. Finland is a very, very cold country. Consumption from renewals. So they are producing, quite a lot in Brazil, the States, Canada, and in Europe they're starting. Germany is quite a lot. In fact, in Germany they have closed all the nuclear powers for environmental reasons, and they are importing a lot of electricity from France because France has a lot of nuclear power. So that the French are laughing a bit at the Germans. We don't appear in the map. This was in 2021, but well, we will appear because geothermal is powerful in Kenya and the solar is becoming. So access to electricity versus GDP. So GDP is at the bottom in the horizontal, and in the vertical is share in access for electricity. So we are better than Nigeria, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, but not as good as South Africa. South Africa has higher capital, they are richer than us, and Nigeria is richer than us, but we are catching up. And but we are more population in Kenya have access to electricity than in Nigeria. The one that is not that Burundi, as you see, is very underdeveloped. It has very little wealth. They are in continuous fight, and then they have very, very little electricity. Then what else is there? Generation, the production, and you see China and the States are #1, and they produce a lot because they consume a lot, and they consume a lot because they have a lot of factories, and probably because the energy is cheaper there than in other places, and they have the human capital, good human capital as well. So Brazil produces quite a lot. Brazil has a huge hydroelectrical power in the border with Uruguay, I think, and then they are good in this industry as well, and as well Australia has good industry as well. So primary energy renewals. What is the consumption in the world? The first is solar, second wind, and all the renewals. That's this is year per year change. So where are people investing their money? They're investing their money mainly in solar and in wind. That is the main investment that people are doing in the world. In Kenya, I'm not sure. Oil production. So as you see, amazingly enough, Russia is producing a lot. The States is producing a lot. But the States want to import cheap oil and keep a very big reserves of oil, so that in case of war, they have their oil. They don't depend on any other countries. And Saudi Arabia is exporting mainly because they have very little industry there, though they consume a lot because of refrigeration and other things. Nigeria is a big producer. It seems that now Dangote is building an oil refinery, so that will help Nigeria to develop and to have cheaper oil. Gas production, again, Russia and the United States of America are big. China, and then I think is Ukraine. I'm not sure. No, must be Turkey. Not Turkey. Yeah. Primary energy consumption. Okay, we have seen this one. So which energy is more moral? So what is the principle of morality? The principle of morality is to do good and prevent evil. So how do we produce good with energy? Well, we have seen it. Is health, is food, two basic needs. Is clean water. You need as well energy to clean the water. You need development, and for that you have cheap energy. So what energy is more moral? The one that produces more good at, and less pollution. So can you say that oil is good and gas is good? Well, they are good because if without oil we don't have. So imagine that we cut all the oil coming to Kenya. What will happen? No cars working unless we get all of them electrical. In a country they have, I think it is Norway, has decided by the 2050, I think, all the cars are going to be electrical. Yep. They have a lot of electricity in Norway. So here, if we want to do that, we'll have to invest a lot of electricity so that you can refill at any place. Otherwise, you need oil. So how do you produce heat? We normally produce, the cheapest way is through coal or oil. So if you want to make it affordable, then what is more available is the best. So we cannot say that oil is a bad investment because if you take oil away, then many people will suffer. So is more moral? Well, if it is more economic, could be more moral because it helps more people to achieve development, to achieve health, to achieve food, transport, etc. So what is the global responsibility for energy consumption? So the countries that are more developed are the ones who produce more energy. We have seen it in the sketches, in the maps, and they are the ones who consume more. Why they produce more? Because they consume more. So you don't produce if you don't need it. So why they consume more? Because they are more developed. Where they are more developed? Is that a circle? Not necessarily, because Nigeria has a lot of oil and it is not that developed. We have seen that the human capital of Nigeria is below Kenya. And we don't have the oil that they have. So what is the problem there? The problem there is ethics, the social capital. So if you're a crook, and then you earn by your cut exporting the oil, and you earn your cut, double cut, importing oil, you don't care. So you are absolutely unethical. So ethics is the glue of society. So you go to the United States of America, and then in the villages, there are no walls in the houses. They leave the doors unlocked. They even leave the cars unlocked. Why? Because they trust each other. So if you don't pay your taxes, you're in jail. And there is no excuses. You can be a politician, you can be the president, the former president is in trouble because of that. And they go to jail. So you have a judicial system that works because people are honest, more or less honest, or more culturally honest. And then the society can develop, you trust. Now you go to Nairobi, and what do you find? Walls in all the houses. Why? Because we don't trust each other. You go to South Africa, and the same. There are walls. So I went once to Johannesburg, and I was surprised because you don't see a car parked outside. Everything is inside walls and with very electrical fences. So if you don't trust, you don't develop. So the second thing, so what energy is more moral? Yep. Mm-hmm. So it's a difficult question, and it has different approaches. So what is not good, and we have suffered in Kenya for many years, is monopoly. That's no good, because you don't have any recourse. So competition usually is good. The worst situation is where you have private property with monopoly. And that happens, for example, in California, Enron. Enron was of energy, the monopoly of production of electricity and distribution in California. So when they wanted money, they will reduce the production. And then there were blackouts. So the government had to pay more for energy, and then they will cash in. So that was not good. So when you have a private that has monopoly, we are doomed. We are doomed. Government monopoly. In some countries that are honest, it works because people are honest and then they try to reduce the price. Though it's dangerous because in the moment that you get somebody on top that is not ethical, then they can really make you suffer. So the best is a mix to me. So that they are different production and distribution so that you can choose. So does it work? Again, it depends on the honesty of the people of the country. Because, well, private people are not more honest than government people. We are the same. So you have government people who are honest and you have private people who are dishonest. So you have to choose. So to me, competition is what really matters. And yeah, we had the monopoly of Kenya Power and Lighting. And when President Moi was here, Kenya Power and Lighting was the cash cow, one of the cash cows of President Moi. So he appointed somebody there. That somebody will do what Moi, and the price of electricity went up. The thing didn't work well. It was a bit of a chaos. Now that they is diversified, we have more balance, but still is very, very expensive. So energy and poverty. So the two are linked. So when you have energy, it's easier to produce. It's easier to be on your own. So if you put up energy, electricity in a village, we have seen people start posho mills, people start welding, people start keeping food, transforming food, and then development. The clinics work better, the schools can learn better. So wherever you give energy, then poverty, if there is freedom, poverty tends to decrease. So it's very, very important to have good, reliable, and efficient and affordable energy. That is for development. So my question is for you. So we can produce more electricity than we need. Why don't we consume more? In general, in Kenya, why don't we consume more energy if we can produce much more? Yeah, there is low demand, but there is low demand. We are not big in electronics. Okay. Industry. Infrastructure. Distribution. The cost. The cost. So the cost is very high. If you lower the cost, then probably people will use more electricity. And yeah, the bills of electricity are pretty high. So that's why I say, okay, let me go to charcoal, let me go to, because using electricity is pretty expensive. So that's one of the problems that we have. The cost of electricity is very high. And why is it very high? cost of production, very high. Mm-hmm. So transmission and production is, we have a distributed solar in different places. If the distribution is solar that normal people. Mm-hmm. Now I have a friend who is so he built a house for his parents in Nyahururu, Caratina. And then he put solar panels there. So they were very happy because they cut completely their dependence on Kenya Power on lighting. They have and lights. That's what they need. But there's an old couple with a farm. So they're super happy now. No electricity bills, no heating prices. So of course, he is the one who pays for the installation, but it was not that expensive. So can we make more affordable the solar for normal people?
Look at it. So the reason today I have right now. So the demand is very low. Not everybody can live fast, maybe because of the human development index. So if Kenya is industrialized, everybody live fast. So the more the government, the more the government. So the cost of production will also go low because there is more money coming in.
Okay.
So I believe there's not just enough people. There's not enough people who need electricity.
Okay.
For it to make it affordable.
Okay. So we have to increase the demand by creating industries that consume a lot of electricity. So why don't we have those industries? You're different now, yes.
Half of the serious challenge in transition into solar is awareness. Yeah, so we have quite a number of people who can actually afford, but they don't really know the benefits.
Dr. Brian, you are muted, if you can hear me. You're muted.
Sorry, you were muted and no, we were muted. So we are discussing why the energy in Kenya is so expensive and what we can do in order to improve. So what we were discussing now is that solar is good and is affordable to many people, but they are not aware and they need to be trained to be aware. Okay, so there is one thing that the university is doing, how it is called, Earth Center, and they are training many people for solar from here and from the other East African countries regularly. And so what you need is people in the villages that can show them, look, we have done this connection with the grid, or if you are not connected to the grid, and now you have electricity. Good. Security will be a problem. I have solar panels and then they disappear. That happens. Really? They disappear. How is the penetration of solar in Juba? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we can afford it. Yeah, because generators has low. So very good. Is energy a social human right? Can we demand energy? Yeah. So we should demand energy. It's not there in the Declaration of Human Rights. It has to be revised because in some countries they say that internet access is a human right. Why do they say that? Information and also business. So you can sell anything from Kenya now, and from any country, by the way, and then also formation, because you have the latest. The latest is not in books any longer. The books are obsolete when they are printed already. So the latest is in the articles that you get in the internet. So that's why they say that is a moral right. Now, there is another thing which is related to morals, which is waste of energy. So why is it immoral to waste energy? I pay for it. So why am I immoral? I want to have my house lit 24 hours a day, and I want to warm my swimming pool the whole day. I pay for it. So I am moral or immoral? Why? Mm-hmm.
I think also because we are with resources and some of this energy actually some of it other people's resources. That's actually so it's like taking someone stealing from someone and doing it as much as it is.
Do the public know that? Do normal people know? No. So that waste of energy is related to politics. They say that the capitalist uses less energy than the socialist one. How is it? Money. Mm-hmm. By the prices, by the market. Mm-hmm. And in the socialist, yeah, so you don't care. Mm-hmm. Okay, you don't have one, you don't care. A third of the nation's energy was consumed by individuals and households, split roughly between transportation and home use. They lay waste and tap potential awaiting for effective policy stimulation. So it's not only in Kenya, but in countries. How do you create a stimulation? You have stated creating industry. How do you create industry? In Kenya, will foster companies to spend money to invest in Kenya. The Energy Act, that's one. Okay, make a policy in which the energy is cheaper for big factories. Okay. 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 Then you have to guarantee as well that there are no blackouts, because that is a big cost for factories. So you cannot work, or if your meat goes waste because there is a big blackout, then you are doomed. So countries that have regular blackouts, people don't go there unless they can produce their own energy by solar or by wind or by a generator. But generator is deeply expensive because it depends on the oil, and the oil is controlled by the government. So that's one of the issues as well. So the rich people are the ones who spend less proportionally in energy. Why? Because they go to green energy, because they get into solar. So poor people who pay more energy. And it happens everything. So when you go to Kibera, people buy butter, buy this chunk. And that chunk is more expensive if you buy in bulk. So the poor people usually spend more money in the basic needs than. So how can we make everybody rich? Or at least affordable? Well, of course, the poor people know tricks as well. So you go to Kibera, you have plenty of illegal connections that they manage to. I have a friend who has an industry, and he says now it's so expensive that I will have to bypass some of the energy. So yeah, we have to make it more affordable. And okay, you have here two sources of the energy mix in Kenya that there were last year, but I suppose they have not implemented. Now, here we have the energy used per person compared to Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. So we are consuming more than them because we have more in a production of energy, and then we have more developed industry than they have, and we have more middle class than they have. So that's the reason why Kenya is very high. But we have some years in which the consumption went down, 85 to 2005, we went down. I don't know the reason, but it didn't happen in Tanzania and didn't happen in Uganda. I don't know the reason. Do you know? No. Okay. So this is the generation in 2021. So geothermal is the big one for us, or what we produce, not what we consume. Hydroelectric is number 2, 30, and wind third, 16, then thermal is 10%, import
I'm a bit lost.
solar 1%.
I can't see
Sorry?
your screen.
Yes,
I can't see the screen. Can you share again?
yes, we can hear
You
you.
share the. Okay. Can you share the screen?
The screen is not shared. Sorry.
Yes.
Hey, boy, we are really treating you badly. Let's see. Well, that happens when you are alone. Okay. Are you getting it now?
Yes, thank you.
But you tell me,
Sorry.
don't wait. You just say it immediately
Okay.
because I cannot see what you see. Okay. So this is what it was at 221. I don't think it has changed much. Well, maybe solar has gone up a bit. So this is the global. I think there are plans of increasing the geothermal with new wells because it's very efficient and we have plenty of possibilities. Thermal and import, they are trying to get it as low as possible. Solar is increasing. Wind, I don't think they are investing more because we don't have that much wind. And hydro, we don't have many opportunities either. So it's geothermal and solar. Peak load. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the solar, you produce most when it is less needed. It's not reflected in the production, the global production. Yeah, that's an interesting point because probably solar is going up. Like for example, Strathmore University, we have a lot of production.
You don't produce
For consumption, but the excess you send it. especially Sundays and Saturdays. When you don't have students here, then is when you can. Mm-hmm. They're not fed to the. For free. No, that's not good. Yeah. Are you investing in solar in South Sudan? Big wave. Okay. Because that you have in plenty. Very good. So this is fossil fuels. This is the prediction of the world in consumption, consumption of the different fuels. Let me get this out of the way. So you see, by 2050, the consumption of natural gas and oil and coal will be practically non-existent. Oil and natural gas will be half of what we are doing now in 2025. So those are the predictions. And this is what the global climate is trying, the global climate crisis is trying to get. So to produce less CO2 by using less fuel, dirty fuels, as they call them. So, well, that is where you are. So the more you help the development of the production. Now, rural electrification. So that's important. This is the map of Kenya. I don't remember which year. Small scale hydropower production cost. This is a small scale, but I don't have the date. That is people who are producing with water, but it's very, very small, as you see. Then access. Then these are the planned transmission lines and the existing ones. I don't know if it is real. This is by 2030. That is the production, and that is, as you see, they're trying to electrify the north of Kenya, the northeast especially. There are very few people there, but if they don't have electricity, there is no possibility of development. So it's not bad, and also to the south. The center of Kenya is very well provided, and then the relationship with the Uganda is good as well. So access to global energy, global in Kenya. So the percentage of population. So Alex, 71% is electricity. Access to clean cooking is the green, which is very low. And renewable energy is 68%. So why can we do? Cooking uses a lot of electricity. And it mainly, we are using charcoal, not in Nairobi, even in Nairobi. So how can we get out of that? I have a solution. No, but you, you are the engineers, you are the people who know. So how can we, because this is killing the forest, this is killing agriculture, this is killing water supply. So how can we get that? And it's mainly poor people in Nairobi and outside Nairobi, everywhere.
I found that the cost of gas is way cheaper than the cost of charcoal. Because one household buy chocolate, small bag, spend X amount of later, something like that. There was awareness created so that shift the household by chocolate to by gas. And it would look good.
That's very interesting. Do you know Safaricom, they listen to people, and before you have to recharge your phone with 200 bob or 100 bob. So they became with 5 bob, you could buy 5, 10 shillings indeed. They started selling like mad, because people can afford 5 shillings or 10 shillings, and then they make the telephone calls, but they cannot afford 200 or 100 at a go. So if you do that for gas, it would be fantastic. So I remember in the country I was, well, in whole Europe and developed countries, you have these mini gas for experiments. So you have this tiny thing that you perforate, it has a very, very tiny, and then which is not, remember how much that costs, but it's not the 500. It's not the big gas cooker. And it would last for 2 days or 3 days. So if you have a company that can do that, wow, it would be great. Yeah, you're right. That is because now how much does it cost? The tin, the small carbon cylinder, 300. That is refilled, but to buy the one, to buy it and to buy the cooker, 900. The initial thing. 3,000 for the cylinder, plus the cooker. 3,000. And then get the small ones for 100. So how much do you pay for charcoal? Charcoal. 30 shillings for the debe. 500. 100. So you have a model here. So you managed to create a small team that you can refill for 50 bob and sell it for 200 bob together with the small environment. Then you have a business. And I think that will sponsor at least because everybody is saying about deforestation, and then it's true. I was telling I was teaching. I used to go to Quillare Falls, then beautiful Seven Falls, and it was a forest, fantastic forest of pine trees. Now there are no trees. Why? Because people charcoal to sell it in Nairobi. So that was, but now they don't have earning because there are no trees. So you have to replant it, and they have to wait for years until that. So if we can get those small teams, that will be absolutely fantastic. So install capacity trend, okay, this is boring. Does the public believe the energy crisis is real, or is due to manipulation of multinational oil companies? Who is primarily responsible for the energy problem, institutions or individuals? So do people believe that the climate is a real problem?
Not all.
And do. Not all. They don't understand the problem of the climate. Survival is the number one. So they don't care. They don't care. That's why education is important and distribution of wealth is important. So access for lighting, access for general lighting, air circulation, and television. Tier 3, light appliances. How many people in Kenya do you think are in Tier 5? One percent. 40%. Consumption per household per person. Per person, yes. Where are you? Tier 2. So you are between Tier 2 and Tier 3. And you are... So the 40% is a bit exaggerated. So if we want to increase the consumption, can we make these appliances cheaper so that people can afford them? Well, So which are the appliances that consume more electricity at home? Hot shower, washing machine, fridge, electrical oven, air conditioning is a big killer. In Mombasa is a must. Okay, so that's another thing that we have. So this is the wind speed. Wind speed, so the only one that is really is the one where we have put in Turkana, is the most constant, and they say that it's very good wind for to produce electricity. I don't know the consumption, how it is transmitted. Then this is the solar, which is great, but Sudan is better. So the blue is the highest. And then big questions. Socioeconomic status, education, age, gender, race, and place of residence were often virtually related to energy, attitudes, and behavior. This was an study. So it is nothing to do with education, age, gender, race, and place of residence. So the attitude to energy, where does it depend then? So how do people know about energy and the morality of not wasting energy, clean energy? So normally it's in schools where you are taught these things and they are ingrained in you. So if there is a campaign for primary schools, then probably it will really reach. So now the last exercise for today, according to what we have seen, is for this topic, not for today, is group 1. You can agree and you can get job with you so that you are 4. Should we have a call planned in between? Pros and cons. So make a proposal that we put it in parliament. Should we have a call planned in between? There is plenty of call in between, I have been told, almost at surface level. So the prime matter is that. So should we have a call planned in between or not? So the next one, should we have a nuclear plant in Lamo? So that's your group. So present to parliament. Yes, no, why? Right now, in 15 minutes,
The people who are going to bus.
sorry, it's time. So forget it. I am lost in time. So yeah, you can discuss on your own, and then next week you come with a conclusion for parliament. So we post. So Job, I hope next week will be better because we have the experience. And thank you for your participation. Are you there? I think Job is still there, but he's not listening, or he's not.
No.
Jacob, sorry, Jacob.
I'm there.
You're here. Okay, Jacob. So good night. And
Thank you.
thank you for being and participating.
Welcome. Thank you. I'll be there in person next week.
Very good. So good night.
Have a good night too.
Have a nice evening.